What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thrilling 32 Throwdown. We've got another exciting matchup for you here tonight. Out of the wood bracket, we've got two older roller coasters, two older wooden coasters, but two that are interesting. One is Tremors at Silverwood going up against Thunderhead at Dollywood. Now, Danny, Thunderhead, notorious, not one of my favorites. Not at all one of my favorites. One of those that I like to talk a lot of shit about, to be completely honest with you.
You do.
Tremors, one that you just recently rode. So why don't you give us some, basic thoughts here, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, so Tremors at Silverwood, if I could describe it best to some people who've ridden some more common rides, it's if you tamed down the Legend at Holiday World or even like a Rampage at Alabama Splash Adventure, if you were to tame down those rides a little bit, I think Tremors, I think that's a good comparison to what Tremors is. Tremors has quite a few tunnels, including the first drop, which actually goes down into underneath the gift shop, the Shake, Rattle, and Roll gift shop. It then does a speed hill that comes out of the ground on the other side of the gift shop, but then goes down into another tunnel. And it's got a similar sequence towards the end of the ride where there's a small bunny hill with tunnels on either side. Tremors, well known for its tunnels, well known for its spaghetti bowl, had one of the very first spaghetti bowls, has a lot of good lateral forces, an excellent first drop. Tremors has slowly sort of gained a reputation over the years in the Thrilling 32 here, and over the last several years has really been a staple of the Thrilling 32 bracket. It's been in almost every year since its first valid ranking, which I believe, as you'll see on the slide here that comes up, in 2014, I believe was the first year that it had enough riders to be validly ranked. It debuted at number 15. It actually had a low point in 2016 at number 43, but it's been in the bracket almost every other year, and it's had a fair amount of success. It's 3 and 4 overall, so it's just below the 500 mark. It's won a couple matchups every year. Thunderhead, on the other side of things, as opposed to Tremors, which has bounced around a little bit, Thunderhead debuted at number 4 in the very first year of this poll and has slowly slid down the rankings each and every year. And I think that's a couple things. I think that's people going to ride other rides, and I think that's also newer rides coming out. In 2012 we had no RMC wood coasters, but now we've seen rides like Lightning Rod, Wildfire, Goliath, Outlaw Run. All of those rides have surpassed Thunderhead in the rankings in previous years. Thunderhead's lowest ranking was last year, and it was number 21. So its low point was last year, and it's been 5 and 7 in terms of the Thrilling 32 matchups. Still a great ride, in my opinion. Certainly deserving of a Thrilling 32 spot. But this is another one where you have to sort of maybe the numbers on the surface tell you that Thunderhead is the easy pick, but if you look at the trends and the direction that these two rides are going in the last couple years, maybe Tremors is the one you want to pick. So I think you got to look at it from both sides here when you're talking about picking these two rides.
Well, in Thunderhead, it's funny because Thunderhead, you look at that one, and it's like the first big GCI. It did things that nobody had done before on wood coasters, in modern times. And
Station Fly Through, that was a Thunderhead thing. Thunderhead started that, and almost every GCI since then has had something similar.
And people went crazy over it. But like you said, as newer stuff has come out, Thunderhead's kind of lost its steam. Now, I like I said at the top, I've never really liked Thunderhead. I don't like the big sweeping GCIs. I'm not a huge Gold Striker fan either. So this one to me is tough to rank because I see it as the highest rank being number 4. I know it's won golden tickets in the past, and I just don't get it, so it's hard for me to rank that. And then I look at Tremors, and Tremors doesn't look like a world beater either. So to me, as much as you say look at the history of it and look at how things might be sliding, I might say look at the history and be like, well, Thunderhead has been a pretty solid pick the last few years. Especially here in the first round against something like this. Against anything else, maybe I would question it. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one because both of these rides, Thunderhead's not a mystery to a lot of people, but Tremors still is a mystery to people. It's hard to gauge a ride just based on numbers sometimes. And if you've never ridden this one, This wood coaster is not an easy one to gauge, just by looking at a piece of paper.
Yeah, and really, I mean, and you and I can certainly attest to the fact that so many people's tastes in wood coasters are so different.
Yes.
What people like out of their wood coasters. Tremors has a good amount of airtime. It's also got a good amount of lateral forces. It's got tunnels. It's got some speed. It's not particularly rough because a lot of the rough parts with the laterals were retracked a few years ago with RMC topper track. So half of the ride is topper track, and it tends to be the smoothest parts of the ride. So it kind of checks all the boxes of what you want in a good wood coaster with airtime, laterals, some speed, some tunnels, relatively smooth. It sort of checks all the boxes, but it doesn't do any of those things better than any other ride. So
Yeah.
it sort of does all the things well, but it doesn't have one thing that really sticks out as the big thing. I think you could kind of say the same about Thunderhead. It's got a decent first drop. It's got good airtime. It's got some good directional changes. It's got some of the speed. It's got some of the low to the ground directional changes. Again, it does a lot of things well, in my opinion, but I don't think there's one thing where it sticks out and says, Thunderhead is the best ride at doing this. So I think these rides are similar in that sense, which is why I think they're both deserving of a spot in the Thrilling 32, but I don't think at this point in 2019, 2020, you're looking at either of these rides going particularly deep into the tournament, maybe winning a game or two.
No, yeah, exactly. So as always, thank you for joining us here. I'm, of course, Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Red Warriors.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.